So, okay, I'll hand you over to Chris. He's going to talk to you about next month's Meetup location.
Oh, thanks, Matt. For all of you that I don't know, I'm Chris Kamatis. I'm one of the co-founders of StartUp Healthtech. It's amazing how it's been, what, 6 months already? More than 6 months that we've started this as more of a social experiment here in Melbourne when Matt and I didn't have real jobs, I don't think, or no friends. You know, we were our only friends, and we kind of decided to put this little experiment together, and it's still going. So thank you very much for coming out, and thank you to the speakers for tonight, because without you guys, we don't have content to deliver to our members and our community, and this is what it's all about, is really delivering quality content to all of you every month. And for those of you that have seen, I haven't been around for the last couple of months because I've gotten a real job. I had to go back to work, but it's been fantastic because I've been able to bring another sense of what we do back into the healthcare community. And in driving this ecosystem that Matt's talked about before, you know, we want to make sure we stay close to the heart of what I'm calling, and Jerry Maguire said it was a manifesto. That was his thing. It was a manifesto that he had, and the manifesto that Matt and I had in the beginning was to cultivate an ecosystem for healthcare technology in Melbourne, which doesn't exist at this point. You've got some places like the York Butter Factory that's trying to cultivate. We have some friends in Buzz Palmer and stuff they do at STC. Out in Scoresby, they're doing some great things out there. There's bits and pieces. But I can tell you, I've been to the States and seeing what they do there in health technology, and we don't come close to what they're able to build. And I think, you know, Scott's talked a little bit today about trying to put some structure around, not necessarily an incubator or an accelerator, but just some structure around getting this group together and really creating some great stuff. So thanks, Scott, for today. So with that, we want to keep true to our ethos, which is, again, around technology, or around healthcare. And I'm happy to announce our latest sponsor or supporter of StartUp Healthtech is the Royal Children's Hospital. So that's where our next meeting will be, in the Vernon Collins meeting rooms at the Royal Children's. The head of surgery, Mike O'Brien, for those of you that might have been here late last year, spoke, and he absolutely believes and loves what this group represents. And so we've actually secured 2 dates at the Royal Children's. I encourage you to kind of talk to Matt, myself, Patrick, Sid, some of the other organizers for the group. If you have any ideas, or if yourself you want to actually talk and potentially address the group at this amazing venue, because it's really what we're all about is, I think we were talking about accessing physicians. This is the venue to do it, because we're going to really be able to address some of the key opinion leaders and key drivers in healthcare, again in the pediatric space, but across Asia Pacific. All right, so I'm happy to announce it's going to be the 16th of April, which is a Wednesday, and look for that announcement coming very shortly. So thanks again. I look forward to seeing you all next month at the Royal Children's. So thanks.
Just to make things clear, I do have a real job as well. Thanks, Chris. Okay. And we decided we weren't unemployed, we just retired. You can come out of retirement, it's fine. Anyway, I'm going to hand you over to Dr. Keith Joe, who I tried to... If you look at Keith's online profile, he does pretty much everything. And so I said, how do I introduce you? You know, he's the clinical director for Centre of Health Innovation. He says, I'm a half-time doctor and a half-time innovator, inventor, clinician, creator. Okay, so that's how we're going to pitch in, because he does lots and lots of things. So please welcome Dr. Joe.
Hey, thanks, man. This is my first time here, so I've made a great discovery. Thank you for inviting me to your group. Scott, I know a little bit more about how things should be put together. I know about thinking about business rather than my ideas, and my gut feeling is really good after that pizza and beer. So I'm not sure whether you're familiar with using game techniques in health, but I thought I'd just spend 10 minutes running through that. How big is the game market? Well, it's $75 billion globally and growing, okay? It's huge. This is the game market overall. Where is it focused? Well, luckily it's focused in, we take a big chunk in Asia Pacific, you know, it's 36%. Probably the Asia bit, right? More than the Australian bit. Yeah. Knowing from personal experience, my kids, you know, they like playing games. But anyway, we've got a big chunk, and luckily we've got a lot of good game developers right here in Melbourne, and we're a really buzzing and busy hive of activity, which is really good. It's really cool. So I found this a really interesting slide because, you know, consoles are a little bit on their way down, PC box are a little bit on their way down. What's on the up? On the up is mobile devices, 35% year on year, increase in gaming and mobile devices. And more importantly, this thing here, MMOs, the online massive, what does the MMO stand for? The massive multiplayer, massive online gaming. My kids play Minecraft, which is, I think, probably one of those games, isn't it? So, and that's growing 14% year on year. And so there's a difference between gaming and gamification. I want to talk about gamification in health. So gamification is the use of game thinking and game mechanics in non-gaming contexts to engage users in solving problems. And it plays on the fact that we have some human hardwiring, don't we? We like competition. We just like to compete. There's no doubt about that. So games involve a competition either between people or within yourself. You're trying to better yourself. Achievement, that might be getting points. It might be getting different levels, okay? Status, you know, you go from novice to, you know, expert to pro to I'm the #1 gamer. I've got more points than anyone else in the world or whatever, okay? Self-expression. I like games of avatars. I play NBA with my son, NBA 2K14 with my son, and you know, we change the way we look and our hair and our, you know, skin color. It's really cool. I really love doing that. There's a certain amount of altruism, okay? Without altruism, then it becomes gambling. But here, it's about just having fun. And there's some closure. You achieve something at the end of the day. You know, you've rescued the whatever, or you've got the prize. So my first exposure to this was actually a very practical problem, and that is every Sunday night, you know the scenario, we'd be exhausted, there'd be 5 loads of washing after the kids had played sport all weekend. I don't want to sort it out. I have to iron my shirts, and you know, you just can't be bothered. So I decided to put this kind of game concept into play. So what I did was I got the 5 loads of washing and I threw them in a pile and I mixed them all up. And then I said to my 3 kids, right, we're going to have a competition. What you've got to do is you've got to plow into that pile, you've got to identify your own clothes, pull them out, make them in your own pile, you've got to fold them up, and we get prizes. And so it went from a situation where the kids just didn't want to put their clothes away to this competition where the kids were arguing and crying and kicking each other over each other's piles. But you know, they got prize for the neatest, the most number of clothing articles, the best folded. And you know, after about 2 or 3 months of this, they finally just kind of got it, and they just put their own clothes away and folded it. Yeah, I still have to iron my shirts, but I pay each of my children $2 per shirt to iron my shirts. So now they have a competition about who can iron my shirts, because they know, you know, they've got 10 or 20 bucks coming up for that week for pocket money. Okay. Now, more seriously, how do you fight cancer? So this is a website which is about a series of games called Remission 2. It's a cancer game, so I don't know whether you know about this. Okay, but there's a lady here who was an oncology technician, looked down the microscope all day, looking for cancer cells, went home, liked playing games, and she thought to herself, hang on, you know, what if we got this kind of fantasy world where the cancer cells got zapped and everything. Okay. Pam Omadiah, she set up this Hope Lab. This is a not-for-profit initiative in the States, and this is exactly what she did. She put research, and the research is that when you infuse positive messages and imagery, then your brain chemistry changes, okay? And there's positive messages that got to do with neuroplasticity and better outcomes. And she put it with innovation, which was around the gaming, customer input, of course, children. And this has been well studied, and what it's shown is that kids between 14 and 17 are much more engaged with their cancer treatment, have better outcomes, more compliance, happier, understand things better, more willing to go along with it. So that's a really good outcome, isn't it? You can download these 6 mini games for free on the Apple website. So Stem Cell Defender or Nano Drop Bot, yeah, or Feeding Frenzy, all about killing cancer. Okay, so bigger than that is probably Games for Health, and many of you may know about Games for Health. It's an American site, and it's started by Ben Sawyer back in about 10 years ago. And it's grown now to have lots of conferences and a mechanism for gaming developers to come together with health people and develop games. Closer to home, we have the Neuroscience Research Centre of Australia. This is based in New South Wales. This is not a gaming organisation. This is a research organisation. But there are 2 people here recently, Stuart Smith and Penelope McNulty. And what they did was they took the game Fruit Ninja. Everyone know Fruit Ninja? The fruit falls down, you go like this with your finger on your iPad, you slice up the fruit before it hits the ground. Okay. Now they did something very simple. They slowed down the game. Okay? And they started using this game for stroke patients and people with falls and balance problems, elderly people. So here we go. This lady is in the Sydney office. They've used the Kinect sensor, so there's no touching the screen. They made it big so you can see it, the fruit's falling down, and she's just going like this. And they found that there was 30% increased uptake in exercise and 141% increase in the range of movement that they could achieve by conventional, you've got to do 10 exercises every hour doing this, it's pretty boring. And so they found that uptake was much better. Okay, so it's a really nice outcome. And one of the biggest problems that we have with the aging population is falls and balance. So if you can get them to move it before they lose it, then you have better outcomes. Okay, even closer to home, this is Murdoch Institute. Murdoch Institute is the research arm of the Royal Children's Hospital, and my friend James Dromney there and his group of people researched, developed and commercialised this application. Now this isn't the old 99-cent one, this is $129. But it comes with a lot of research, it's validated. And what this does is help autistic children and people with cerebral palsy and Downs to communicate effectively, to string words together, make sentences. So it's been well validated, and it's selling well because it's not a gimmick, okay? It's a validated tool that's been put through this company. I just want to briefly speak about my contribution to the games community. One of the things that I've seen as an emergency physician is people are scared when they come to the emergency department, whether you're an adult or a child. A lot of what happens is about the fear of what's going to happen to you. If I told you you're going to have a nuclear medicine scan, well, what does that conjure up? Or you're going to have a curette. You think, what are they going to scrape out of me? So I had an idea And the idea around my game goes like this. When you come to the hospital, you develop an avatar of yourself. That avatar represents you going through the journey of the hospital. And at every touch point, like when you have an X-ray or you have a procedure or a blood test, then you have a mini game. And the mini game actually informs you about what's going to happen to you. And when you play that mini game, you get a prize in terms of points, electronic points. And then you go through the procedure and then you're rewarded with more points. And at the end of your journey at the hospital, you cash in your points for a prize. A little bit like when you take your kids bowling and you go in those arcade games and the tickets come out and, you know, they collect 50 tickets to get some tiny little ball thing or some crappy little balloon or something, water balloon. So what we're trying to achieve, and I've teamed up with Two Balls, which is an interactive gaming company here in Melbourne, and what we're trying to achieve is system change, okay, to demystify the hospital, to give people better user experience of the hospital. So that's in its very early development. We're looking for sites around the world. We've got some content partners that we've signed up with, very large multinational companies that have got characters that you would recognise in the movies and on TV. Now, what gaming is for us is not this. Okay, this is just this is just a nightmare and a sea of apps, and you don't know what's good there and what's really there just to make money. It's not validated. Okay, so and it's a bit hit and miss, isn't it? What you get. And this trades maybe on the fact that you're going to spend $2 and you're going to throw it away later. Okay, so this is not what our concept of gaming is about. So the last slide is this, what we need in gaming. We actually need mechanisms to network and collaborate, so I'm really interested in your idea there, Scott. Because we need to bring the gamers, we need to bring the clinicians who know the problems to the gamers who've got the cool solutions, and that's what really excites me. Funding streams, it's really hard, and I've tried this, to get gamification and go to NHMRC and ARC and all those things. So some people just don't get it, okay? So you're perpetually trying to find funding, and everyone goes, that's a really cool idea. Hey, no, I'm not going to give you $100,000, because show me where the evidence is, you know? Prove it to me, you know, and you can't sell a gut feeling, can you? Everyone knows it's good, but is it really that good? You know, it's hard to study. So that brings me to research and validation. So the people who've done it well have done it right, and they've collaborated with a group of people, they've validated their game, and it's got longevity. The other thing is integration to patient care. So I see a lot of kids when I see them in my emergency department playing games already. You know, what's the big deal? You don't need to develop these things. You just bring your iPad and you've got a movie on it. But what we're actually trying to do is integrate that to patient care and achieve better outcomes. Okay? So somehow along the way, explain to them what a nuclear medicine scan is, have some stylized version of that so that young kids can play with it, older kids can appreciate what electrons are, what neutrons are, that kind of thing. And it's about building long-term sustainability. So interestingly enough, we've been talking to the Victorian government, and yesterday, tender closed, request for quote closed around developing a statewide strategy around gaming, okay, and the commercialisation of game and development of gaming in Victoria. So that's a significant and new and small step towards achieving games for health and other gaming mechanisms in our community. Thanks very much.
So I'm sure you've all got loads of questions for Keith. I don't know why he's sitting down. No. There is a couple of things here. Also, I don't know if you know, but Keith's a TEDx speaker. And apparently has some stories around how that whole system works. So please, have a chat with Keith about that. We are running a little bit late, so and we have to be out of here by about 8:30. So we've got about another 10-15 minutes. Please have a chat. And are there any questions for Keith at the moment, or? do we want to fire some questions? Are we okay? Good. So, Patrick.
Is the Australian Centre for Health Innovation, is that a government-funded organisation?
Yeah, so the Australian Centre for Health Innovation started about 8 years ago with a grant from DSDBI and is situated at the Alfred Hospital. And what it does is it tries to bring together clinical people with IT solutions, predominantly in hospitals and predominantly kind of mainstream kind of technology solutions.
Technology, not all sort of other innovations.
Innovation and technology and what's also available. So no vaporware as such, but what are the real options available for clinical staff to adopt better technology. So I'd like to offer this our facility for your meeting at some stage, but we can only seat 60. So I guess it's the 61st ticket holders. I don't know.
Well, 35 of those will be from PI.
As long as they bring the pizzas.
I don't have a question, it's more of a comment just about that app you talked about with the Meetup Children's. To give you guys an idea of how that collaboration actually works, they actually have the product development team embedded within the institute itself.
Yeah.
So that really sort of gives you an idea of the type of close collaboration you really need with the clinicians to make successful apps like that.
Scott.
What would be your aspirations from a gaming hospital perspective?
For my own development, turn the whole hospital into a game. Yeah, no, I'm serious. Navigate your way through using Google Maps or GPS. Turn the whole thing into a game. Why not? You know, a hospital's such a dreary place, and you know, there's nothing to reward the kids. Why not make it into more like a zombie? I've got aspirations of, you know, the kids have got to go around and don't shoot the nurse. They don't shoot. If they get onto the orderly's trolley, they get a fast track to theatre. You know, you shoot all the germs. Make sure you wash your hands before you get through the doors. That kind of thing. Okay, that's aspirational. But the first step is to actually produce little games. Yeah, around what we commonly do. What I assume is normal. Yeah. So I assume, you know, giving you stitches or glue, that's normal, but that's quite scary, right? Or taking your tonsils out, that's quite scary. So baby steps first, yeah. Cool.
Great. Last question.
Last question.
Can you share some light on what's happening in gamification and aged care?
Yeah, the aged care sector is this, you know, if we talk about gamification overall, and we talk about healthcare, it's not in the hospital. Actually, only 40% of healthcare is in hospital, and that's the end point. That's when you're having a crisis. The real great thing about gamification is it's about preventative health, okay, which is what we're seeing through the App Store and other kind of health insurance people who are taking up lifestyle apps. And at the other end, it's about aged care and how you keep people moving in the community for longer. Now, there are a few a few large telecommunication companies that are playing in this space at the moment that you'll see some amazingly large innovation come out in the next year or two. But in terms of the aged care sector, that's where the money is.
Thanks a lot. Thanks to all the speakers and again Planet Innovation and Lucas and Inspire9 for the accommodation. This is the bit where I say we're always looking for sponsors. So either give us some content or a location or even cold hard cash or pizza and beer. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you next month.